The silence in the hall did not last long. It broke, like glass. Voices rose all at once. Guests whispered. Some stood up. Others pulled out their phones. The perfect wedding had turned into something no one could understand. Eleanor stood at the entrance, breathing hard, her heart still racing from the run. But she did not move back. Not this time. Alistair looked at her, then at Beatrice, then at Mrs. Whitmore, and something in his eyes changed completely. "Everyone, please sit down," he said, his voice calm but strong. Slowly, the room obeyed. Even in confusion, people listened to him. Eleanor took a few steps forward. Her feet hurt, but she did not stop. She stood where everyone could see her clearly. "I did not run away," she said again, her voice stronger now. "I was locked inside a room upstairs." A woman in the crowd gasped. Mrs. Whitmore stood up quickly. "This is a misunderstanding," she said, forcing a smile. "My daughter is overwhelmed." "No," Eleanor said, shaking her head. Her voice cut through the room in a way it never had before. "I am not confused." Beatrice stepped forward, her expression tightening. "Eleanor, stop this," she said sharply. "You are embarrassing the family." Eleanor looked at her. For the first time, she did not lower her eyes. "You locked me in that room," Eleanor said. A deep silence followed. Beatrice laughed lightly, but it sounded forced. "Why would I do that?" she replied. "Use your head for once." Eleanor's chest rose. "Because you wanted this wedding," she said. "You always did." The guests murmured again. Alistair did not speak. He was watching, listening, carefully. Then, slowly, he lifted his hand. "Enough," he said. Everything went quiet again. He turned to Mrs. Whitmore. "I would like the truth," he said. Mrs. Whitmore hesitated, just for a second. But that second was enough. Eleanor saw it. Alistair saw it too. "Tell me," he continued, his tone firmer now. "Did I ask for Eleanor, or did someone else decide that for me?" Mrs. Whitmore's lips parted, but no words came out. Beatrice stepped in quickly. "You asked for her," she said. "You made it clear." Alistair's eyes shifted to her. "Did I?" he asked quietly. Beatrice held his gaze. "Yes." Another pause. Then Alistair spoke again. "I asked to meet the quiet one," he said slowly. "The one who worked with children." Eleanor's breath caught. Beatrice's expression flickered. Only for a moment. But it was there. "I was told her name was Eleanor," Alistair continued. Silence. Then Eleanor whispered, "It is." "Yes," he said, turning to her. "But I was also told something else." The room leaned in. "I was told she was the younger daughter." Beatrice's face went still, completely still. Eleanor felt the ground shift beneath her. "You thought she was me?" Eleanor asked softly. Alistair nodded once. "I was introduced to her name," he said, glancing at Beatrice, "but not her truth." Gasps filled the hall. Mrs. Whitmore's hand trembled. Beatrice's calm finally cracked. "That does not matter," she said quickly. "You are already here. The wedding is happening. This changes nothing." Alistair's expression hardened. "It changes everything." He stepped back, away from her. Then he turned to Eleanor again, his voice softer now. "Why did you not tell me sooner?" Eleanor shook her head slowly, tears forming. "I tried to understand it myself," she said. "I did not know who to trust." Another silence. But this one felt different, heavier, real. Then Alistair looked at the priest. "This ceremony is paused," he said. Paused, not ended. That single word hung in the air, because it meant one thing. The choice had not been made yet. And now, for the first time, it would be. The word paused stayed in the air. It felt heavy, like everything in the room was waiting for what would happen next. No music, no movement, just eyes watching. Alistair turned away from the crowd. "Eleanor," he said gently, "come with me." Every head followed as he began to walk slowly toward a quiet side room near the hall. His cane touched the floor, with soft, steady sounds. Eleanor hesitated for a second. Then she followed. Behind them, the whispers grew louder. Beatrice stood frozen where she was, her hands clenched tightly by her side. Mrs. Whitmore reached for her arm, but Beatrice pulled away. "Do not touch me," she said under her breath. Inside the small room, the noise from the hall faded. It was quiet. Too quiet. Alistair closed the door gently. For a moment, neither of them spoke. Eleanor stood near the wall, her hands shaking slightly. Her dress was no longer perfect. Her hair had fallen loose, but her eyes were clear. "I am sorry," she said softly. Alistair looked at her. "For what?" he asked. "For not speaking sooner, for letting things get this far." Alistair shook his head. "You were not given a chance," he said. His voice was calm, but there was something deeper beneath it now. Frustration, disappointment, not at her, at everything else. Eleanor swallowed. "Did you ever want this marriage?" she asked carefully. Alistair paused. Then he answered honestly. "I wanted a partner," he said. "Someone kind, someone real." His eyes met hers. "I thought that was you." Eleanor's heart tightened. "It is me," she said, almost in a whisper. "I know," he replied. Silence fell again. But this silence felt different. Not cold, not painful, just uncertain. Eleanor took a small step forward. "If you still want that," she said, her voice shaking slightly, "then I will not run." Alistair studied her face, carefully, as if trying to see beyond everything that had happened. Then he spoke. "Do you want this, Eleanor?" he asked. Not her mother, not her sister. Hair. Eleanor felt the weight of the question. For the first time, no one was forcing her. No one was deciding for her. This choice was hers. Her lips parted slightly, but before she could answer, the door burst open. Beatrice stood there. Her calm was gone. Her face was tight, her eyes burning. "You cannot do this," she said sharply, stepping into the room. Alistair turned slowly. "This conversation is private," he said. Beatrice shook her head. "No," she replied. "This is my life too." Eleanor stared at her. Something was different now. Beatrice was no longer hiding. "You think you can just take this from me?" Beatrice continued, her voice rising. "After everything I have done?" Eleanor frowned. "What have you done?" she asked. Beatrice laughed, but it was not a happy sound. "You really do not know anything," she said. Then she took another step forward, and what she said next made the air in the room go still. "I was the one he spoke to first," Beatrice said. "I was the one he noticed." Eleanor's breath caught. Alistair's expression darkened, because suddenly the truth was no longer simple, and someone in that room was still lying. The room fell into a deep, tight silence. Eleanor looked from Beatrice to Alistair, her heart beating fast again. "What do you mean?" she asked softly. Beatrice stepped further into the room, her chin lifted. "I met him before you did," she said. "At the charity event. He spoke to me first. He noticed me first. Hez, Shodi, Hisodi." Alistair's eyes narrowed slightly. "That is not the full truth," he said. Beatrice turned to him quickly. "It is enough truth," she replied. "You saw me. You liked me. Do not pretend now." Alistair stood still, calm but firm. "I spoke to many people that evening," he said. "You were one of them." Beatrice's face tightened. "But you stayed longer with me," she insisted. "You asked questions. You smiled." Eleanor watched them both, her chest rising slowly. Something felt wrong again. Not just what Beatrice was saying, but how she was saying it, like she was holding something back. "Why did you not tell me this before?" Eleanor asked. Beatrice turned to her. "Because you would not understand," she said quickly. "You never do." Eleanor's eyes did not drop this time. "Then explain it now," she said. Beatrice hesitated. Just for a moment. Then she spoke again, slower this time. I saw an opportunity, she said. A life I deserved. Alistair's grip tightened slightly on his cane. So you decided to take it, he said. Yes, Beatrice replied without shame, because I knew you would choose me if things were clear. Eleanor felt a small ache in her chest. Then why lie? She asked. That question hung in the air, heavy. Beatrice's eyes flickered. For security, she said finally. For certainty. Alistair let out a slow breath. You built a marriage on a lie before it even began, he said. Beatrice stepped closer to him. No, she replied. I built it on what makes sense. She gestured toward Eleanor. She cannot stand beside you in your world. She is too soft, too quiet. She will be ignored. She will be lost. Eleanor felt the words hit her, but she did not break. Not this time. Alistair's voice came low. And you believe you are better suited? Yes, Beatrice said firmly. I understand power. I understand how to move. I understand how to win. Another silence followed. But this one felt like a decision was coming. Eleanor looked at Alistair. Her heart was steady now. I may be quiet, she said softly, but I do not lie. Beatrice turned sharply. That is not enough in real life, she snapped. Eleanor met her gaze. It is enough for me. Alistair closed his eyes for a brief second, then opened them. When he spoke again, his voice was clear. Final. I think I understand now. Both sisters froze, because whatever he would say next would decide everything. Alistair did not rush his words. He looked at Beatrice first, then at Eleanor, then back again. I was not looking for the loudest voice, he said slowly. I was looking for the truest one. The room felt smaller, tighter. Beatrice's jaw clenched. So what are you saying? She asked. Alistair stepped forward, not toward her, toward Eleanor. I am saying that honesty matters more than performance, he replied. Eleanor's breath caught. Beatrice let out a sharp laugh. You are making a mistake, she said quickly. You need someone strong, someone who can stand in your world. Alistair stopped in front of Eleanor. She is strong, he said calmly. Beatrice shook her head. No, she is quiet. There is a difference. Eleanor looked at her sister, then spoke, her voice steady. Being quiet does not mean I am weak. Beatrice's eyes flashed. You will not survive in his life, she snapped. You will be pushed aside. You will be forgotten. Eleanor took a step forward. I would rather be myself and struggle, she said, than pretend and live a lie. Silence fell again, heavy. Then Alistair turned to Beatrice. This is not about survival, he said. This is about trust. Beatrice's face changed. For the first time, something like fear appeared. You cannot just throw this away, she said, her voice lower now. Everything is ready. The guests are here. The world is watching. Alistair's expression did not change. I would rather stop now than regret later, he replied. Beatrice stepped back slowly. Her eyes moved to Eleanor, sharp, cold. This is not over, she said quietly. Eleanor held her gaze. I am not afraid of the truth anymore, she replied. For a second, it felt like the room might break again. Then the door opened slightly. Mrs. Whitmore stood there, her face pale, her voice trembling. People are waiting, she said. What is the decision? Alistair did not answer immediately. Instead, he looked at Eleanor, not with pressure, not with control, but with a question, a real one. Do you still want to go on with this marriage? He asked. The room went silent again. Eleanor felt every eye, every breath, every expectation. But this time, no one could decide for her. Not her mother, not her sister, only her. Her lips parted slightly, and just before she spoke, Beatrice's voice cut through the air again. If you say yes, she said slowly, then you are choosing a life you do not understand. Eleanor's heart beat once, hard, because this choice would not only change her life, it would define who she truly was. Eleanor stood very still. The room felt quiet again, but this time it was not fear. It was clarity. She looked at Beatrice, then at her mother, then finally at Alistair. For so long, her life had been shaped by other people's voices, what she should do, how she should act, who she should be. But now, there was only one voice left, her own. "I understand more than you think," Eleanor said softly. Beatrice's lips tightened. Eleanor took a small step forward. "I understand that a life built on lies will not stand," she continued. "I understand that fear is not the same as wisdom. And I understand that I deserve to choose for myself." Mrs. Whitmore shook her head slowly. "Eleanor," she whispered, almost pleading now, "do not throw this away." Eleanor turned to her. "I am not throwing anything away," she said gently. "I am finally holding on to myself." Silence. Then she faced Alistair again. Her heart beat steadily, not fast, not afraid, just sure. "I will not marry you today," she said. The words landed softly, but their weight filled the entire room. Beatrice blinked, surprised. Mrs. Whitmore gasped. Even Alistair's expression shifted. Not anger, not disappointment, something else. Respect. Eleanor continued. "Not because I do not see your kindness," she said. "Not because I do not feel something real, but because I want a marriage that begins with truth and choice, not pressure." Unquote. Alistair nodded slowly. "I understand," he said, and he meant it. Eleanor gave a small, calm smile. "For the first time in my life, I am choosing my path," she added. Then she stepped back, away from both of them, free. Beatrice let out a sharp breath. "So that is it?" she asked. "You just walk away?" Eleanor looked at her. "Yes," she said simply. "Without fear?" Eleanor paused for a moment, then answered honestly. "With fear, but also with courage." Beatrice said nothing. For once, she had no words. Mrs. Whitmore lowered herself slowly into a chair, her face filled with shock and regret. The perfect image she had built had finally broken, and there was nothing she could do to fix it. Alistair stepped forward slightly. "Eleanor," he said. She turned. "If the day comes when you are ready, I would like to meet you again. Not as a decision made for you, but as a choice we both make." Eleanor held his gaze, then nodded. "Maybe," she said. And that one word held something new. Not pressure, not control, possibility. Eleanor turned and walked toward the door of the hall. Each step steady, each step her own. And as she stepped out into the bright Lagos day, she was no longer the girl who was locked away. She was the woman who chose her freedom.
Thank you so much for watching. Where are you watching from? Let me know in the comments. Don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on your notifications so you don't miss the next story.